Welcome. Welcome to the coaches next door in this very special day. I even have a new friend. I brought a new friend that my kids just gave me this morning. So, this is my new friend for the special day that we have today. And I had amazing gifts to say. And we have a special guest. So, all the things that we could ask for, right? Welcome. And our special guest, you probably, if you follow us, you already know her, is Joelle. And she will be with us today, of course, in a Venus day. And we will talk about relationships. And I think the main thing when we are talking about relationships, the two of us, is always about progress. I don't know, I have the sensation that we are never going to the same topic the same way. And I think that is most part of the times is missing in most part of the relationships is how can we, let's say, elevate our relationship, whatever type of relationship we have, if it's a friendship, a romantic relationship, or even a work relationship, and how to do that in a way that we both feel, or both persons in the relationship feel like this is where I want to go. So today, this special day, is not only Venus Day, is Valentine's Day. So everything, of course, needed to be about relationships. And where do you want to start, Joelle? Where do you want to start? Because, yeah, we were talking about my today, my urge of, shaving my hair and taking all this away because I was feeling super overwhelmed with this. And he said, maybe not. Maybe it's not a good day. So, what is going on? What is going on here?
Okay, so hello first, and thank you. Thank you for hosting me, for inviting me to this conversation. I want to first apologize beforehand to everyone because the connection is a bit slow.
Yeah.
So we're going to roll with whatever there is, right?
Yes.
And in regards to, my work specifically through astrology with Venus and all the planets as principles, right? Like as archetypes, as Carl Jung used to say. We are entering a very special period for Venus, which is not rare. It's not irregular. It's very regular. However, every 18 months or so, Venus goes into something called retrograde.
Mm-hmm.
And retrograde means literally like rewind. Okay.
Say,
So
go back.
yes. And the ancients used to monitor Venus in the sky and to look at the passage, like the way Venus takes. And for 40 days, every 18 months or so, Venus does 40 days of going back, right? And in our lives, collectively, personally, it means that it's a time more in order for us to pause and review. Everybody hears of Mercury retrograde. Mercury goes, 3 times a year retrograde. And it's more quick and more frequent.
Yeah.
But Venus, that is responsible for the trends, right? Like for our likings, our wanting, our desire, the way we do relationship, and the way we are impacted by relationships is through Venus. And when Venus is in a sign that is not very particularly good for Venus, which is like now in Aries.
Yeah.
These kind of reviews are tainted by the energy that Venus is going to navigate. So, for example, today is Venus Day. Venus currently is in Aries. It's at the beginning of Aries. And when Venus at the beginning of February entered into Aries, it started to be tainted by Mars, the planet of anger, because this is Aries is the sign that is dominated by Mars. So for Venus, that is more like cutie, lovey-dovey, embracing, harmonizing. Venus is not gonna be that much lovey-dovey, right? Like it's
Good to know.
Yes, it's more like the energy that you're feeling. Like I want to shave, I want to cut.
Yeah,
like
I want
Mars cuts, and I wanna just get rid of things. I wanna cut things. And while this is good to acknowledge emotion, like we know in NLP, emotions are very important.
Yeah,
it's good to like relax more into the process of manifesting this.
yeah, but can also be a good moment to realize, okay, for instance, okay, I feel like shaving my hair, and it's the relationship with me and my hair, okay, and a nice moment to realize, okay, but what is this all about? Because maybe it's not about shaving all my hair and putting myself bald, but something is here, right? So it's not like, oh, let's ignore this and let this pass, because something is here. This also, this sensation is telling me something, right? The same way that, for instance, sometimes we feel really the urge of changing a relationship. Like, now I want to talk about this, or I want to, make sense. That like will be also useful to realize what is there, instead of just pausing, or not, or is really best to pause.
No, it's not like the best is to pause, but more of, if you don't have a really good idea, maybe better to pause instead of going through
reacting.
Yes, because this is the issue right now, and we're going to feel this from now. It's going to be highlighted at the beginning of March, because the 40 days will start at the beginning of March. So now Venus is navigating the degrees where she will be retrograde in the 40 days and back, right? So this parkour, this stretch of the journey, Venus rules the hair and rules relationships in astrology.
Oh, really? Okay.
So it's, if you feel like you're cutting your hair, it's probably something that has to do with your own emotions as well, right? Like, what do you need to get rid of in regards to emotions that are no longer valid for you? And maybe that's a better way to look into the emotion instead of reacting, because Mars is reactional. Venus in Aries takes this quality of Mars where she becomes more reactional than Venus in her own domicile in Taurus, in Libra, or in Pisces, where she's going to do a little bit of stretch as well. So what I'm seeing energetically is that we have like 2 months, roughly 2 months of being immersed in the wanting of the self, the me, the I am, being assertive, focusing only on how this self can move forward, and as well going back, because she's going to go back into Pisces by the end of March, 27th of March. We're going to reconcile this with the more collective, more connective, right? And yes, our relations need to progress, and probably it's very logical that every 18 months we do some reviews, because it's impossible as human beings to go with bonds if we do not update them. Just like we update our softwares, just like we update, like now everything is about software. So why do we accept updating of softwares and we don't accept
and I think and I think from what I see, a lot is on also this communication. We all talk about relationships, about communication, and I always talk about clarifying, looking always for clarifying, first of all, ourselves, right? And I think that is the self that you were talking about. I think deserves a time for us to clarify with ourselves first, because we are very used to just put things out, and sometimes not even in a clear way, right? We say very vague things sometimes about how we feel. For instance, we say things like, I'm fine. Okay, what that means, right? But most part of the times, what I see is that people say, I'm fine, because they themselves, about themselves, they don't know. It's like, yeah, I'm not bad, so I'm probably fine. But if we go and ask, like, okay, but what that fine means, what the I'm good means for you. And most part of the times, people don't know exactly what that means. So I think it's also, I feel like it's also sometimes we need to, slow down and go back to say, okay, what is this for me, first of all? What, and being clear on the language also that we use to express ourselves. Because I think we are sometimes too vague and expecting that people get it. And I think this, like you were saying, like this duality between me and the other starts with me knowing a little bit more about what is going on here. And
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And the thing is, what's funny is that sometimes like if we're paying attention to the universe, that's the great thing I find about astrology, is that the universe always gives us like opportunities to put things together again and understand and elevate and upgrade. Because this year, the very special thing that is happening with Venus retrograde is that Mercury is going to retrograde on the same path of Venus. And Mercury is the planet of communication. So what you said resonates so much. There's going to be a review of our trends, our wantings, our desires and our relationships, along with communicating this and putting back things in together. And at the same time, March is a big month in astrology of 2025. It's really a big month because 2 eclipses are happening. And one of them is in Aries, while all the months we have this retrograde of Venus and Mercury in Aries.
And
so it's a lot. It's a lot on this part of us that I call Aries the starter, the beginner,
Mm.
the spring of every person, and the spring of life as well, because
Yeah.
during the
Yeah.
spring, like things
Yeah.
start to take shape. So this is telling me this. This is telling me that if there are things that are bubbling on the surface, because they're going to bubble, it's Mars.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not going to be nicely put out there. They're going to be
Yeah.
out there, flashy
Out there.
and bold.
Yeah.
And it's really about assertiveness this year. It's really about how to
Yeah.
do assertiveness differently, how to assert ourselves in relationships, and how to bring it back into the cutie lovey dovey when Venus goes back into Pisces, because
Yeah.
we're going to be, you know, we're going to be able to tackle the collective and the connective part differently when Venus is more herself, like
But
Venus
yeah.
exalted
Yeah.
in Pisces, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, like maybe you can share a bit about what you shared with me this week about, you know, the anger flaring up and feeling like you want to organize other people
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
not.
That's not going well. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. The thing is that I was also talking about that. It's like this urgency of, and I felt it. I don't know. Was when was it? I think it was Monday or something like that. And I really felt like, okay, someone needs to come here and organize this because this is a mess, you know. And when I say a mess, is the world. And even a friend of mine was saying, "Oh my God, when I'm in that mood, my kids take it, you know." Because, and I said, "No, no, no, no. My house is organized, so I want to take this to the world." So I didn't felt it in my surroundings, like my house or, you know, but I felt like from to outside to why people are not saying clearly what they want, why people are not, you know, just doing what needs to be done. So I felt a lot on the, and I was angry because I felt like we are losing so much time, so much energy, you know, in things that really don't matter, really. Um, and we are focusing things that are totally irrelevant for the rest of our lives. And I felt like, okay, someone needs to come here and organize this. And the thing is that I think I felt that urgency of, I felt the, I don't think, I'm certain that I felt the urgency of clarity. Like, let's be clear with each other, and honest and open. You know, this is what I want. This is what I'm going to do. But also the call it honesty. Like, don't try to, you know, manipulate things, and don't try to, you know, make things look what they are not, or, you know, this type of things. And I think
Yes,
I heard more
yes, and
people
Venus rules
requesting this.
politics, by the way.
Yeah. 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 You told me that already, but how that works, how
How it
Venus
works.
rules politics.
How I'm gonna tell you how it works. Um, when we want to connect to another human being,
Yeah.
we have we have a path to harmonize, a bridge
Oh,
to
yeah.
build in
Yeah.
order for us to meet somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
The real politics, not what we're seeing now in the world.
Yeah.
Real politics
It's not
is
politics,
about
it's power. That's
harmonizing.
different. Yeah.
Yes,
It's creating a
thank you.
society. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. So if to be diplomatic and use
Yeah.
diplomacy is actually to build bridges
Yeah.
between me and the other, because there will always be an other. We cannot merge with another human being, even if, you know, Venus and Pisces wants to merge. But
Like, yeah.
now
Yeah. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
going into Venus in Aries, the merging part is asking to, okay, I'm merging, but what for? And why?
Yeah.
And under which conditions? And if we listen to this in what's happening in the world and in our own
Yeah.
chart, for example, I'm going to give an
Yeah.
example for everyone. Like in Ligia's chart, this is happening in the communication sector of her chart and her neighborhood. So whatever is happening
Yes.
is affecting this part, and it's amazing. And of course, we work together more in details. Uh, it's more relevant for you in different ways.
Yeah.
However, for other people, you can look where Aries is in your chart if you know your chart. And if you don't know the time you were born, maybe you can look at what is affecting Venus in the time that you were born.
That. Yeah.
Because if Venus in your case is affected by the principle of time and boundaries and long term and hardships like Saturn, she's going to give a different result from Venus
From.
being connected to Mars, that is more angry, more
Yeah.
cut and straightforward. Or if Venus is connected to Jupiter, that is more indulgent and gives you more,
Yeah.
the pleasures. So it depends. It really depends
And
on
yeah.
each one of us how we're living it.
Yeah.
However, we can use this time. It's going to be a bit chaotic and a bit maybe too much straightforward for
Yeah.
diplomacy. And that
Yeah.
is a bit like the part that people can be nervous about because
Yeah, but I
there's no.
think one of the things that I say a lot is that, and sometimes people, I did it this week. I was giving a training, and it was a lot about people that are in between. Like it's funny they're saying this breach. So they are really working in between. Two things like internal and external. And one of the things that I was saying to them, because of course it's very easy for us to say, "Oh, I don't connect with this person," I don't like it or whatever. And I said, "But everyone can connect with everyone. Of course, we need to want it, right? And it's this idea of
Yes.
rapport. We can do it, but we need to want it, right? And I think sometimes it's that awareness that we don't get. It's like you're saying, okay, I have different ways of using this, but if I want to connect with someone, of course I will do it, I will be doing it different ways than maybe you, okay? But if I want, I can still do it. I can elevate that connection, right?
Yes, I think nothing is impossible, honestly, as in terms of like when again, like we do in coaching, like what is the intention
Yeah,
behind me
exactly.
having a rapport with you? What is
Yeah.
the intention behind both of us wanting this relationship? Do I want this relationship
Yeah.
whereas you are still uncertain? Do you do you feel like I am uncertain in regards to you?
Yeah.
This is where
Yeah.
we can clarify the bonds. This is how we
Yeah.
can elevate when we allow both people, like the two of us,
Yeah.
to express what they need at the moment. And sometimes, like you said in this amazing quote today, like you can be mad for a little bit of time. It's like it's good to keep it at check, of course, because it's easy to
Yeah.
go overboard with madness. It's just that anger. Let's call it anger more.
Yeah.
Um, However, anger is healthy as long as uh, I keep my intention for the relationship
Yeah.
at eye level. I can see the intention of the relationship. And I'm going to share with you one thing that when I've been preparing for Venus at the beginning of this year, I was reading a book. I think I shared this with you.
Mm-hmm.
I've been reading a book, about, crimes and stuff like that. That's how my brain functions. Anyway, so the main character was telling his friend
Mm-hmm.
He was telling her, this friendship thing needs to go both ways. We need respect and
Yeah.
trust in order for things to be sustainable on the long term. And how
Yeah.
many times we feel like respect is being chipped away in a relationship, or trust has been pulled away many times. On
Yeah.
the long term, this can really eat away from the
Totally.
bond. It can
Totally.
eat away from our uh, commitment to the bond,
Yes. Yes.
right? Like, what
Yeah.
do you think about that?
Totally. Totally. For me, it was the topic of last year. Respect and trust, and also, this the relationship. I was really a lot on the this needs to be a two ways thing for all my relationships, from my kids to my business partners to my friends. We had some conversations about it, and needs to be a two ways. And I think sometimes people don't really realize how much things happen when technically we call this the negative anchoring, right? So when you look to a person, you only remember the times that the person was not there, the times that the person said something that was not nice, you know? So the times that, the person was not nice to you or whatever. So, and I think sometimes people don't understand that the most difficult thing is to delete those negative anchors, because they first we are as humans very looking for the non-match. So we are looking for the default, to the defect, like what is not working. um, so we tend
Mm.
to put that always on top of the things that are really working. And another thing that happens is that we don't talk about it. Most part of the times, people don't talk about it with the right person. The times that I hear that, oh, I had a problem with my boyfriend, and I said, okay, with whom did you talk about it? Oh, with my best friend. I'm like, whoa, and your boyfriend? Oh, he still doesn't know. And you're like, yeah, but you are amplifying the negative anchoring. So that's going
And
to,
vice
so
versa, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
vice versa. Because how many times do you hear, I hear anyway, uh, I have a problem with my best, like, I used to think she's my best friend,
yeah,
and now things are messy. Okay, did you manage to talk about it to her? No, I was, ranting to my boyfriend about it. I'm like,
yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
if
You are always talking.
maybe you
We
needed
are
to
always
vent
talking.
out,
Yeah.
but it's not
Okay.
gonna be helpful. So my
Uh,
question is always, do you still want this relationship in your life? Because it's
yeah,
always, listen, it's not a problem. It's not a problem to review relationships. It's not a problem to
no,
decide at some point that this is,
yeah,
mm, we outgrew the bond. We
yeah,
outgrew whatever
yeah,
we had. It's good to take
yeah,
sometimes pauses.
yeah.
But if there is any future possibility, there has to be this conversation.
Yeah, but I think what happens is that I think most part of the times people don't know how to talk about it. That's the first thing. People don't know how to talk about, without blaming or offending or whatever. They don't know how to talk about
Yes,
it.
and
And I
and
feel like
offending.
this, and
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and another thing is that sometimes people wait, like, oh, let's see if this passes, like just goes away, will never go away. And I think another thing is that, again, people are not talking to the right person. And I always, and he was saying something like, okay, you need to vent. And I thought, okay, but even with the venting of, okay, you want to talk to someone, it's not about getting a new perspective, because that could be useful, right? If I go to you and I say, hey, this happened, da, 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 can you tell me what this is for you? So to help me out to get a different perspective, because maybe I'm too emotional attached. Okay. But most part of the times people go to someone else just to get a confirmation, like, yeah, you did it right, or yeah, not totally to progress, but more to get a little bit of support. You know what I mean? And I
Yes,
think that is the
agree.
huge
Agree
difference.
100%.
I think it's the
Yeah,
huge
agree.
difference that, for instance, I go to you and I say, hey, Joelle, this happened with this person. Can you give me an idea? How do you see this? What, because you have different experience, you are not emotional attached, so you can maybe hear more about what really happened. And sometimes even you can say, hey, Ligia, I think you are not, on your best point, because yeah, maybe you provoke it a little bit as well. So I go like, oh, okay. So it's also why, and I think a lot of times is using the other person just to get a little bit of emotional support and not to gain a different perspective of the subject, right? So
Um,
I think even that relationship, when you use someone always to vent, is not healthy, right?
no, that's the thing. Most friendships go into
Yeah,
that mode, by
yeah,
the way.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Like you have the friend who plays a role
yeah,
of emotional support and stuff like that. And I have, in my personal life, I have struggled a lot with this kind of role playing, because
yeah,
I'm like a naturally born listener. um,
yeah,
uh, my early relationships were, it took me a long time, right? Like to understand that they were built on the fact that I was playing the role of the listener where people could come and
yeah,
vent out.
yeah,
And when this happened, like when I discovered when I stopped playing that role, when I had a need to say
yeah,
something or to feel the support or to come and ask for perspective from someone. It was like either total silence, like the person did not at all react, or yeah, but you're exaggerating, it's too, like, don't
yeah,
think about it this way. I mean,
yeah,
okay, even if I'm exaggerating, there is a perspective here. Like, how many times you and I, we go into discussions about relationships in
yeah,
our life or situationships where we find ourselves like, okay, I got angry, but this is my point, blah 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 blah. And I we don't we validate each other. Okay, sorry,
yeah.
we
Go
have
on.
a electricity cut anyway. So uh, how many times do you feel like you want to tell someone
Yeah.
uh, about the vulnerable part
What
of
is
you,
going on? Yeah,
the
yeah,
one the part of you that usually like uh, doesn't get so much attention,
yeah,
which
yeah,
is like
yeah,
the
yeah,
dark thoughts, the part of you that
yeah.
is a
That
bit
is not charming
on
at
the
all.
anxiety. Yeah, that's not Instagrammable. And then you're like, oh, but you're not. I don't know. I thought you were a
Yeah,
better friend than that, and I'm not
yeah.
coming for you to judgment. I'm already judging myself enough. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Um, yeah,
Yeah, but I think that's the thing, is that most part of the times people are not willing to deal with emotions, because most part of the times people don't even know what to do. And um and also, what means. So for instance, I remember that Peter, my husband, he sometimes I will come to him and he will say to me, okay, but before we continue, what do you want from me? And in the beginning, I was like, what? Ugh. And I was getting in the beginning of our relationship was really like, oh, if I need to tell you what I want, I don't want it anymore. And then he will say to me, don't get this as me trying to get what is really your need. And I will give it to you. But you need to let me know because there's so many possibilities for me. I can do so much.
Yes.
So I can save you. I can, just listen to you. I can protect you. I can do so many things for you that if you don't put a frame, I know that I'm going to mess up. I'm going to do something that is not exactly what you want, and I'm not here for that. I want to serve you. And at the beginning, for me, was
And
like, like, oh my God, he's really willing to serve me. And this is not him doing this
bless his
to,
heart, bless his spirit. Honestly, I think this is like one of the best ways to connect to another human being,
yeah,
by being curious,
curious.
really
Yeah,
curious, instead of judgmental. Like
yeah.
judgment is important, right? If you don't have judgment,
Sometimes is necessary.
you
Yeah,
can't, yeah, you can't cross the road without being hit by a car if you don't have a judgment. Like
exactly,
judgment is
exactly,
necessary. However,
exactly.
when we talk about bridging the gap between me and the other, whomever the other
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
curiosity,
yeah,
curiosity is the one that
yeah.
is the one tool that is going to help, because instead of saying, oh, Ligia talked to me this way,
This is,
it must
yeah,
mean that she's
yeah,
putting something, she's planning on, something that is not okay for me. I'm like, okay, did you ask her? Like,
yeah,
genuinely, like, Ligia,
yeah,
I was a bit surprised by what you said today or how you reacted. Can you just walk me through this? Can I?
yeah.
There's something in me.
What was,
You remember one time I
what is
said,
this all about?
can you help me here? Like, I'm not
Yeah,
understanding anything you
and that
said.
understanding. Yeah, because that sometimes that really happens, right?
Most of
Like
the time.
you,
Most of the
you
time.
like you're not in my head. I'm not in your head. So sometimes I'm like, okay, where she's coming from, and I don't get it. And I go like, okay, can you explain to me because I'm really
Yes.
not getting it. Um,
Yes.
and I think that is, but I must say that at the beginning I was when I heard that, like, what do you want from me? I got it a little bit on the frame of, okay, what do you want from me? And was nothing like that. It was just curiosity, like, okay, what is my role? What is the role that you want to put me in? And I will take it if it's okay. So, and I think sometimes, and I hear this a lot, like, but what happens if I say it? If I say, you know what, I just want you to listen to me, please. And the person said, but if I say it, the person is doing something because I asked for it. Yeah, that is a way of love. That person is loving you.
And we're all different at the same time. Yani, yes, and we're all different. We all have different needs and different
Yeah,
ways of
yeah.
life, different backgrounds, and we're gonna mess up. Like, messing
Oh
up
yeah,
is
for
part of the
sure.
relationship. Being disagreement is part of the relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, grief, grieving parts of self that we thought
Yeah,
we're gonna live the relationship this way,
this way.
and
Yeah,
then you're like,
yeah,
oh, it's not gonna be this way. There is a grief. If there is
yeah,
no space for these and indulgence and pleasures, of course, I'm talking
yeah,
about like the challenges. If
yeah,
there
yeah,
is
yeah.
no space for the uncomfortable emotions and the good emotions to be, we're missing on the sustainability of a relationship. Now, I want to wanna talk about something that happens that I'm seeing like frequent, is that we expect that if we are, for example, if you are my bestie, if we are very close, and we are, but like, is it as if I don't know you, but if you are my bestie, you should be able to, you know, accept me in all my facets and emotions right now, and you know, be available for me to just sometimes I'm gonna burst out and you're gonna be okay with it. No,
No,
you're
no,
not gonna be okay with the fact that I'm bursting out, and you're gonna ask, and if you're honest with yourself, you're gonna ask for a space and time for yourself to respond. That's a mature way to deal with relationships, instead of just let's just, you know, say everything and do everything, and just, you know, because we're besties, we have a bond. But but this is trying too much, the bond. It cannot survive that much, because if you have respect for the other person, again, you respect their space, you respect where they are coming from, and if you trust them, then you're more curious about if they are ready or not. So again, respect and trust.
Exactly. But I think today I heard a sentence. I was trying to remind myself exactly what I read, but I don't remember. But it was more on all on that topic, like going to another person and just, you know, put your emotions out there is violence. It's a
It is.
violent act.
It is.
Because
it is.
first, sometimes you don't know what is happening also with the other person, so you are just like, you know, take my stuff, you know, take what doesn't serve me or what is making me not in a good place, just take it. And like, that's not the way to go, because that is basically not respecting anything. Like, you don't respect the other person, you don't respect also if they are able to take it, because you don't know what is going on with them as well. So I think is sometimes we we are so how do you say, not able to deal with things also by ourselves, and when goes to the other person already goes a little bit of thought, a little bit of work, you know, showing a little bit on the emotion and saying, okay, what is this all about? And because we need also to stay with ourselves, and not always to, you know, I have something, ooh, let's put it out. I'm whatever is a boyfriend or a girlfriend, or even sometimes, you know, family, like how many times people just go and put on, when they arrive home, for instance, with a full day of work or whatever, and they just, you know, spread the emotions that they went through. I don't find that nice, fair, you know.
And
But
look,
people do it.
it's gonna happen, right? Like in life, it's gonna happen. We're gonna sometimes, you know,
Yeah,
just share with Ligia, for example, that she pissed me off when she did that. But
yeah,
when that happens and Ligia responds by being upset herself by my
yeah,
reaction, it's
yeah.
good if I can just, you know, pause, step back,
And saying,
and
okay,
then,
what happened?
you know, and then call for a meeting, call for a reunion in some shape
Yeah,
or form, in order for us to see, like, okay, the other person, I might be angry at Ligia, but it's just, you know, bursting it out loud like that, out of nowhere, or
yeah,
now in our days, like texting it, like angry
yeah,
texting. Like,
yeah,
how is that kind? How is that helpful?
yeah,
How is that, again, trusting and respecting the other person? Yes,
yeah.
you have the right to be angry, and we're going to see it a lot in the coming 40 days.
Yes,
Anger is
yes,
going to be like part of the game. However,
Yes.
please keep in mind, whenever you can, things are going to happen. However, how can we review in a way? Again, by checking our
Yeah.
intention. Do I want this relationship or not?
Yeah.
And after that, where is the trust? Where is the respect? And where did
Yeah.
I mess up? Where is my part in coming and,
Yeah.
putting a burden on Ligia just because listen, I might be right about my anger. But if I just
Yeah.
put it on her shoulders, how is that going to help?
Yeah.
How are
Yeah.
we going to move forward with that?
Yeah, but I think that, and yesterday I had a conversation with someone about that post, about being met with the right person, the right amount of time, and for the right reason. And someone was saying to me, uh, uh, "Oh yeah, but how do we do that?" And I said, "Yeah, we first need to take upon ourselves because the emotion is ours, first of all,
Yes,
okay, and
yes,
then." We need to understand where and why sometimes we are so angry or frustrated or whatever, and realizing that, first of all, that emotion is mine. Second, that I need to check in if is really I'm mad with the right reason. Because what happens, and she was very surprised, and I said to her, it's really good as you take a shower every day to clean up a little bit your emotions every day as well, for you not to,
yes.
accumulate, and she was like, oh wow, I never heard that principle. I'm like, okay. So that idea that sometimes, or I will say most part of the times, we are not getting mad or upset or frustrated with the right person for the right reason and the right amount of time. We stay
Yeah.
too much in that emotion when it's not necessary, because that was a question that she asked me as well, this person. She said, how do I know that is the correct amount of time that I'm mad? And I said, first of all, we need to understand why, for instance, we get angry. We get angry because we are looking for justice, right? So
Yes.
the
So the
amount of
idea of
time,
fairness and justice.
yeah, the fairness and justice. And I said, so the amount of time that you should be angry is until the moment that you get that justice back, or at least you did something to get that justice back. And when that is done, you stop being angry because it's no need anymore. But guess what? We have a huge difficulty because we already started and we want to continue, because then we need to say, oh, okay, I got my justice. I'm not angry anymore. You don't see a lot of people doing this because I got my justice. I said what I wanted. For instance, imagine that, okay, I'm angry with you. And I go like, oh, if I look for the motive that I'm looking for, what is the justice that I'm looking for? Most part of the times, if I come to you and say, hey, Joelle, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that, you acknowledge that, I was there and I tried my best. And you sometimes will say, most part of the times, you'll say, oh, but I acknowledge you. I know that you were there. And I go like, okay, I got my justice. I'm okay now. But the thing is that we get involved in the emotion and we lose
Yeah.
track
Yeah.
why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
Why
Yes,
why
yes.
I'm
And
so angry.
again, and again, and again, that's why I keep reminding, clients, people I love, like, again, you, like, something my mother used to tell me, like, you put in
Yeah,
balance, like,
yeah,
what is good in this relationship and the amount of fuck
yeah,
ups that we all do, and, the
yeah,
messiness. And if you have the scales tipping towards, this is really more good than bad for me, but you
yeah.
need an amount of personal honesty, like a personal,
Yes,
authentic questioning, whereas when you feel like this is becoming more harmful, or there is a pattern of, anger responses constantly, or judgment constantly, then there is no tip to scale. Then you're like, okay, maybe you have to take the hard decision of just disengaging from the relationship.
Yeah.
But there are ways where we can meet together, just like you said. Just there are ways to connect. Again, Venus, diplomacy, the real politics, the real diplomacy. Can you hear me,
But
or am I
I think,
talking?
yeah. No, I can hear. I think, if I can condensate all the things, is just what you said. If I want to elevate my relationships, I need always to learn, or I need to look for trust and respect.
Yes.
Is
There is no
that trust?
sustainability. Ligia, there
No.
is no sustainability in a relationship if there is no respect and trust.
And
Impossible.
trust. Yeah. Yeah. Because after that, for instance, I can do so much more, because if I trust you, even when you are, for instance, doing or saying or whatever, something that I go like, oh, okay, this is like, I was not expecting this. I trust that that comes from a honest place, doesn't come to, to hurt me, or doesn't come to, no, maybe
And then you
comes
come
because you
with
are not in a good
curiosity,
place or whatever. Yeah. And
right? Then
yeah,
you can come with
exactly.
curiosity and
Exactly.
ask me, like,
Because I
Joelle,
don't
that was
distrust.
weird.
Yeah.
Yes.
That was like, oh, okay, that is new. What happened there? And at the
Yeah.
same time, respect that if you are feeling, probably you have a reason for it. If you are, saying it, probably you have a reason for it. And respect that. Also respect that, because I think that, I was saying this the other day, and I was in a group of, I was doing a team coaching, and they were looking at, I could see, they were like 10, and I could see who was inside of a nasty relationship. Because I said something like this. I said, you don't find strange that people can sleep with each other without trusting each other? And I stopped and I look
Yeah.
around, and you see these faces like, oops, you know, how do we got to that place that you can, I was even a little bit more provocative. I said changing fluid, with people that you really don't trust.
This is where I find that modern times made relationships a bit transactional. And that is
Yeah,
like a modern era conundrum.
yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's easier,
But
like it was always like listen, like if we're
yeah,
talking about
was
exchanging fluids, that was always like the
always
case of
there.
humans. Yeah.
Yeah,
But what
they
I'm
got
talking
because
about,
they
like,
are here.
yeah, like people are, it's more like we're talking about people who build relationships with each other,
Yes,
sort of, in some way,
sort of.
but at the end
Yeah,
of the day there is no trust. This is where I think
yeah,
you're
yeah,
going, right?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
makes sense.
But I think that, that is the honest question that people need to go for. It's like,
Hmm.
do I continue in this dynamic of relationship if, trust is not here? I think that is what people should be looking for. Let's say, how can I build this trust, if this is even possible? We don't know. But I think the thing is, for instance, one of the things that I always said, to Peter, is like, sometimes he was saying, for instance, he was joking. He was making a joke, and he was saying it, and I was, and sometimes say, Ligia is a joke, and I will say to him, man, I trust you. I know, I believe you. So whatever you say, I believe you. So doesn't come in as a joke. And he was saying,
You take him
something
too seriously.
sometimes. Yeah, exactly. I was taking him too serious, and he was like, no, sometimes I'm just joking. But doesn't work in my brain because I trust you. Like, I will trust you my life. So if you say something,
Yeah.
enters a place that I don't doubt. I don't have this point
Yeah.
of, oh, is saying this seriously or is just joking. Doesn't My brain doesn't do that. And it was sometimes saying, oh my
Yeah.
God, now I cannot even joke. And then no, because I really believe you. And sometimes I'm believing really stupid stuff because he was just, mocking around. And
He was a goofy.
and
He was a
that's
goofy.
yeah, he was very goofy. So I was like, don't do that, because then I'm going around saying, yeah, this happened, and it was not, didn't, because I really trust him, and I still do. So
Yeah.
that's the thing, is that I think sometimes I wish, deeply, deeply in my heart, that people could be in relationships like that, because that comes also with my friends, with my closest friends. I really trust them. So if you say something to me, I'm going to trust you. um
Yeah,
so
I know that of
but
you. You're amazing in that
yeah,
way.
I,
Yeah.
I trust.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and I think I wish that more people made that standard for their relationships. Like,
Yeah.
if there's no trust,
Well,
I'm going to look for it, or I'm going to let go. I don't know.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's, from in my head,
If you're not
doesn't, because
being
maybe, yeah,
if you're not being able to be curious about like the other person and why they do things that you find
yeah,
challenging to accept,
yeah,
and then there's no trust to be built, because then you're going to be questioning all the time and doubting all the time, and things are going to be
yeah,
very shaky.
yeah.
It's not agreeable to be with someone who's doubting you all the time, who's asking questions
No, you
for
are
simple stuff
always,
that you do spontaneously, or sometimes organically, or sometimes
yeah,
because you have a situation that you are not aware of.
yeah.
um yeah,
But I think,
it's
I know, I remember the sentence. I remember the sentence. The sentence was saying, if someone needs to go around you, like in X, like walking in X, like always taking awareness,
oh
that is violence. That is a violence. It's a violent relationship, and I think that is connected with the trust, right? Sometimes
yes,
people are just
yes,
walking around like, can I say
on
this?
shelves.
Can I do this? On shelves, exactly. Thank you. So that's, and I think most part of the times, or a lot of people at least, are in this type of relationships,
Yeah, yeah,
not
agree.
realizing how unhealthy that is.
Yeah,
That
that's what
you
I tell
cannot
my
say,
clients most of the time. I'm like, am I
right?
hearing that you're walking on eggshells? Because when I
Yeah,
hear that from the nonverbal,
yeah,
it means that there is something going wrong, like there is
going on.
something missing
Yeah,
in the relationship.
and
um
that for me is like,
yeah,
that is a no go. If I
yeah,
cannot
yeah,
express and be myself, and sometimes, yes, I will do stupid stuff. Sometimes I will say, very ridiculous things. But if I cannot have a space that I can also say sorry, oh, I'm so sorry that I did that, was far away from my intentions. If it's not a place that I can, go for my mistakes, and then saying, oh, okay, it was a mistake, then what is this all about? So if, I don't know about you, but if I make this a summary, I would say elevating our relationships is always building, or at least realizing, where is the level of trust and respect inside of that relationship. And if that is not there, then we need to, do something about it, right?
I
Looks like
love
a
that.
good summary. Okay, good.
I
So
love
we
that.
are almost on our time,
Yeah,
and you have
yeah.
a gift for people.
Yes,
What is
yes,
your
for
gift?
people who are listening, people who are listening to us and who would like to look into their, own lives in regards to relationships and to the principle of Venus in their life, like how they came with which potentials, which challenges in regards to relationships. I'm giving like the Venus mini readings. Only like I have only 10 spots available. It's going to be all the way through March. And you just have to email me. It's there.
I will put,
It's a very special offer for the coaches next door, because it's going to be like 40 minutes, just like the 40 days of Venus retrograde. So 40 minutes for 80 euros. But the first 5 people who sign up are going to have it for 60 euros. So if you
that is cool.
Listen to this, go ahead and book, because, in March, we're going to be like tested, really tested in regards to our taste, our likings, our wantings, our desires, and sometimes our relationships. It doesn't mean like always it has to do with the relationships. Look at my friend here, my bestie, is, thinking of, shaving her head. It's another kind of problem.
Another kind of relationship.
So just email me, Coaches Next Door Love 2025. This is the code, and the first come first serve, they will have the the special deal.
I will put all this information on the websites, but let me just ask: is Coaches Next Door 2025, right? That they need to.
Just Coaches Next Door as a title, and then the code inside it, Love 2025. So I can email them the payment.
Okay. I will put all this information around so that you can also reach this information without any doubts. And thank you so much for this amazing gift, because I can tell that is an amazing gift. So go for it and use it, because I would say you will need it. So will be really great if you have like a kind of a vision what is out there, and really gives this shift sometimes of perspective. I use it myself, and sometimes I go like, okay, this is a nice thing, and I will use it. So thank you again, Joelle. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you to everyone.
We will probably talk again. Take care.